Are we really live? What's up, y'all? How you doing today?
Hey.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Kicking Knowledge podcast. My name is Esaie. It's Esaie W on Instagram, and
The boy E-Weezy. It's a triple E W-E-Z-I-E on Instagram. Ian Williams.
and welcome to Kicking Knowledge.
Hey. Man, so many people out there.
I know,
Man.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's wild loud.
Yeah, as you guys know, we always strive to bring you some of the best, most informative information and some of the greatest and coolest people we can bring up in the industry that you guys probably don't get a chance to connect with on a regular basis. And today, I don't think it, gets any better. I mean, well, every day I think we try to start to top ourselves a little bit, and I think you guys are going to take us there. But I'd like to introduce you to the good man to my right. Ian, you want to take us right here?
Hey, this is my brother right here, man. I've known this guy since I was 10 years old. He was the loud black guy in the front of the church. Then he probably still is the loud black guy in the front of the church. And I had the honor to work with him through my career at Nike. The E.Scott Morris. He's a design hitman.
Sometimes.
All the times.
And then I think you guys will definitely know the man after him, for one, for kick and roll, and also just for being a great altruistic being on this planet Earth and everything, Mr. George Kiel.
Yes!
So yeah, we kind of messed them up a little bit. We sent them their questions to look at a little bit, a little late on this and everything. So do bear with them if they have to pause a little bit and think a little bit on the questions.
This is just gonna be organic.
Yeah,
how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, we're gonna get real organic and honest with you. Today's show, we're actually gonna be talking about the consumer relationship to design and everything. And I think it's a really good topic to cover off with where the world is right now, and also where we're looking at with some of the new products that are out there from both sides, all sides. And just with how the consumers are actually consuming things these days and stuff like that. So, I mean, first, let's just flat out ask you guys, what do you do? George, we'll start with you first.
Yeah,
So go deep on us. Don't leave no like detail out.
I like basketball.
Yeah, let's pretend like nobody knows who you are.
Okay, well, I like basketball.
There we go.
I'm the president of the Kiel Colon Cancer Foundation.
There you go.
And CEO of the Kick and Roll Classic and all the events that we do there. I'm also co-founder of Koiski Media, which is an agency / edutainment blog. We educate and entertain.
That's a good word.
Entertainment. So
Shout out to KRS-One.
So those are my two babies in a sense: Kiel Colon Cancer and Koiski Media. Koiski Content is King.
Beautiful. Please believe it, y'all. Content is king.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know how you're gonna back the get after that, E, but
No, I told you. I'll keep it pretty basic.
Well, now we want you to go.
Oh no, I'll go to the deep in the pool.
Okay.
Okay, so my name is E.Scott Morris. I've been a footwear designer for probably about 26 years now. I've been in the industry. I've had the privilege to work for Reebok. I've worked for Nike. I worked for Under Armour, and now I do contract work with a company over in China called Anta. I have worked for Hasbro. I've designed toys. I'm actually an action figure.
he made himself into a toy.
They made me into a toy called Bulletproof. I'm out there. If you want to get me on eBay, I'm about $6 or $7. I'm cheap. I'm great. Got a high top fade and everything.
He's got for the kids.
Okay, great for the kids. Rated G for the kids. Right. It's all good.
Yes.
One of my other things is I have a stat that no one knows about that I love to share. I never missed a day of school from kindergarten to the 12th grade, so that's 5,282 days consecutively. I was there. Okay, so yeah, consistency is king in that particular regard. Fear drove it for me. It's another story. We'll talk about that another time. But probably the thing that I love the most is I love that God gave me an amazing talent, which is to create product and ideas and share those products and ideas with people. I am 51 years old. I grew up in North Chicago, Illinois. I was also in the Marine Corps, so I served 8 years, Sergeant of Marines, Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I am a decorated veteran. I've seen the worst of things, only to come home to experience the best of things. So here we are.
Got tears a little bit.
Oh, stop. And Ian said I had the perfect face for radio.
No, I did not say that, but if you said so.
Yes. So messy in here.
Hey, it's family. That's why. So when did you realize that design really mattered? And I'm actually excited for this because you got like a designer and then somebody on the opposite side who is receiving all of this information and writing about it and giving that information out to people and telling us like why it should be important and why it's important to us, you know?
And again, I want you to, people who are listening and looking and who don't know or do know whatever, like the bigger reason why I think it's important to have George on is because there's a lot of people who actually go out and play in some of your grails.
Oh yeah.
These things that you guys are considered like, ultimate heat. Some of you come at these things with intrinsic values that would never allow you to actually wear them, but he actually takes a product that you actually, him and the guys around him take a product that actually comes out and puts it to its functional use. So I think we have a really good conversation I think we can have today.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ian asked the question, and the question was, when did I know that design had value?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. When did I know that? Believe it or not, it actually started really early as a young kid. I used to always want certain toys that weren't there. I wanted the Mach 5. There was no Mach 5, if you know Speed Racer. There was no Battle of the Planets.
Shout out to Speed Racer.
Shout out to Speed Racer. The G button, always the G. Hit the G when you don't know what to do.
Funny note, but just here in Portland, people used to think that the BBC sweatshirt was
Speed Racer. Yes, they didn't know.
But shout out to Portland.
Right, shout out to him. There you go. As a result, what that did to me is it made me become a connoisseur of wanting to understand and learn how something worked. It's like, can you create the thing? So I would create the thing with the hopes that someday there must be a place where I can use these talents. I don't know where, but there has to be a place, right? At 15, I told my mom, I think I'm gonna work for Nike. She said, so who's Nike? I said, it's this company that makes these sneakers that you allow me to buy. And she said, okay, well, if you feel that strongly about it, well, then you can do that then. She said, you're gonna have to work hard. Little did I realize that by the time I got into the industry, right, that is the footwear industry, after the toy industry, I realized getting to a company like Reebok, at that time they had a 2-slot, but people wanted to have things that they could wrap their arms around, right? Sneakers were getting a notoriety that at that time, growing up in the 80s, because I did grow up in the 80s, I'm an older guy, I'm 51. So I remember when Top 10s and Diodoras and Fila's the first time.
Shout out to the original Go Hard sneakers.
Yes, where it all kind of began.
Before they were blogs and all that stuff.
Right.
You look at the street corner, you were like,
you kind of knew who had what, right? Puma suedes, right? Fat laces. All these things meant something, and so
it's just crazy because literally you and Clark referenced the exact same shoes. What happened was if you knew the horsepower, horsepower behind those shoes, if that's what's next? You start asking, if that's there now, what's there tomorrow, right? Not knowing you're going to be a part of it. So by the time I got to where I was going, my brain was already in the mode of, I'm going to have to create something that so when it happens, people go to it. They may not know it's me. If they go to it, it's enough, right? I had a design director at Reebok, and he said, why are you so intense about these things? And I remember saying to him, there is no Super Bowl for sneakers. It doesn't exist. But if it was a Super Bowl, I would want to try to play to get in it every single year. I said, if I lost, I'm looking the next year to get back. I said, so every shot, I want a shot at greatness every single time. It didn't matter if it was $65. It didn't matter if it was $120. I just want a shot at going to the bowl. Wow, it's amazing listening to this part right now, and you can definitely, because it's literally the last world you two working together, but like, it's proven point that you held that ethos to the last product you touched at Nike, which literally was in that zone.
Yeah.
And I was in a category where y'all kicking my ass because y'all made a better takedown.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Shout out to 31 takedown. Cole made all that money.
That's right.
Boom.
Okay. OG Core Performance.
There you go. Hey, OG, that's right.
OG Core Performance. When it was still people who had worked there for like 15 years who they were like, I don't need the fame.
Right.
I don't need the nothing. Like, let me just make a good shoe and go home and be with my kids.
We were just like curtain tappers, like in old Johnny Carson. We just tapped the curtain. You don't see us, but you know some good stuff's gonna happen. You're gonna be entertained.
I just showed up and they were like, sit down, young boy. I was like, all right, cool. Let's sit down real quick.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, George, yeah.
Yeah, so when I first realized design matters, I mean, a lot of people know I was a former editor-in-chief of NiceKicks.com, so there became like a switch. Like, everyone went for, you know, a person's shoes with a name on it. Oh, I want the, whatever, Sean Kemp, Shaq's, whatever. But I guess people started to realize that designers like E.Scott were putting, like, the brands were doing a great job of telling the story of the designer. And so when people started to realize, hey, there's more that goes into this instead of just tagging a name on it, that's when people started to really pay attention to not just, you know, a name of a shoe or what it looks like how does it perform? Like what goes into this shoe? How is it created? Why is it like this? Like you were talking about the Falcon on
Big Five.
Yeah. So those little, I guess, details and just everything that went into making the shoe, people started to appreciate that even more. Because I think the sneaker culture community is totally different from any culture community out there. Like, people actually care, kind of like the car community, car culture as well. People care about the details. And so it was like a switch. And I think around, you know, 2007, 8, when I was working, you know, at Nice Kicks, like, you began to see a big switch in that consumers actually cared, like, about every single detail of a shoe. And so, yeah, that was it for me.
What would you say are some of your favorite silhouettes and brands?
Wow. Favorite silhouettes and brands.
You can go back as far as
Sure,
you
okay.
go deep. Yeah.
Okay.
George's like he's ready.
Okay, so I will say this, and it might surprise some people, it might not, don't know. One of my all-time favorite silhouettes, if you black it out, and even if you turn up the lights and look at it close, the original Air Mohawk for me is one of the most special shoes on the planet.
Shout out to ACG.
Okay,
Wow.
and for this one reason, you could do any and everything in it. You know, you say, just do, you know, the old Men in Black, you get one shoe for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
This is the first last shoe you'll ever have. I was like, great, I'll take it. Just give me the black one, I'm good, right? That for me was special. The actual Puma GV, Guillermo Vilas,
Oh, wow.
right?
That's big.
Okay,
Yeah.
that shoe, GV, Puma GV.
I'm gonna look it up.
Okay? The silhouette of that shoe has a stance that I think is sturdy and low. It has a low vamp, but it has a beautiful shape.
Oh, yeah, I
Right?
got that shoe.
And what I think is lovely about that shoe, it doesn't matter whether you have chicken ankles, frog ankles, or elephant ankles, you look great in that shoe, okay? It doesn't matter. You look great in that shoe.
Yeah, there was a little time in LA, like when I moved out to LA, I'd say like 2000, 2001, 2 maybe. Mostros were big for one side. GVs were huge. GVs in California, obviously.
Sure.
Were huge for LA. And like I literally wore GVs and Air Force Ones because of the same color blocking strategy and everything.
Yeah,
like
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. When I think about what I consider to be the style quotient, I love, it's a tie between top 10 and what is the shell toe, right? When you see a top 10 kind of looks like a fast tank, right? And it does, it looks like a really fast tank, like a little mini Abrams tank. It's beautiful, right?
Yeah,
And- yeah, exactly, it's perfect. And then if you think about when you see, you know, that classic shell toe, you know, it doesn't sit too high, it sits low to the ground, but it really is the complement to whatever the person has on, right? It complements everything. It's like, and their clothing concept is finished, right? So that's a quick one for me.
Brand doesn't have to be footwear, but brand in general. I mean, you know, we're touching on all different types of design and everything.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't have to be footwear.
Oh,
but
okay.
Just have a footwear brand that you want to mention.
Okay. Well, if I can't, George, you want George to hit that?
Well, you can finish it. If you
Okay. Well, okay. So we're talking about universal design. Absolutely love what Infinity was able to do as a car company over the last decade. I've owned their product. In my opinion, the M35 from 2006 was their Mach 5. You know, it wasn't necessarily the top of the line of their cars, but the car not only performed, but the silhouette was like sleek when it needed to be, beefy and tough.
It was like muscly, like
It was
shoulders.
exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
sleek and brutish at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Y'all out there can go ahead and switch out the app for 2 seconds. Look up the Mach 5.
Yeah, it's all good. And then I think there are a couple other things. The classic, what we know as the flight pilot jacket, right? I remember Averex in the 90s, what they were doing with some of those beautiful Simple Pilot jackets, you know, the slight zipper, you know, you see the light green one, you see the like dark navy one. Those jackets, you could be a nobody, had that jacket on and look like you had a jet waiting outside. You know what I mean? You could just be anybody. You got a jet? Yeah, it's right outside. Oh, okay, great. Can I get a ride? You know, so those kinds of things to me meant a lot, right? Love that. Somebody, you might laugh when I say this, but you'll see where I'm going. I was really big on the Rubbermaid giant pitcher that you make the Kool-Aid in. You know, they have this super jumbo one that you pop the top on top of.
Yeah.
The reason why I say this is because if you made the Kool-Aid right, it was something about how it sat in that plastic volume of goodness for like a day or two, and you came home thirsty, you could crush at will. It's like I could keep pouring and I can keep drinking.
You know what? I've heard him say this before.
Okay, so he knows.
For the design community and those out there in product management, you gotta check out what he's talking about. He's literally talking about things of endearing value.
Yes. And primary things you need to do, you need to eat and drink. You gotta live. You need liquid. So my thing is, give me something that I can have the volume of goodness that I need to get my whatever I need, water, juice, whatever. Something about that big carafe, man, is just perfect, and I just love it. Probably the last thing. I mean, it might not be much, but shout out to these guys, the New Era 5950.
Yeah.
What a joyous!
Wow.
What a joyous!
Shout out to the homie Ducky.
Oh my gosh! Let me tell you something.
Yeah, the George on the talking about.
When you put that hat on, even if you sat the bench, you felt like you weren't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
It's like-
felt official.
It's like heavy. It's like when you got to the league and you got the heavy.
That's right.
stitch
You got the
jersey.
real one.
Like, man, this thing kind of hurt a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
You earned it.
You know, I mean, to the point where you knew if you bought it a little tight, you was gonna have a red line on top of your forehead.
Absolutely.
You know, it made it official. It made you feel real. And so, those are just a few things for me that are like exciting.
So shoe wise, I would have to say, and you touched on some of classics, but kind of even going further up, the Kobe 5 that Eric Avar created. Because when you going back to the Kobe 4, that was when photos first came out of that. I was like, this is a basketball shoe. It's a low top. Who's playing in this? You're gonna twist your ankle, tear your Achilles, whatever. And so, looking at that shoe, I remember my first opinion was like, I'm not playing in a low top basketball shoe. But then I played in it. Kobe 5 came out, and Kobe 5 to me, that is the best basketball shoe of all time.
I'm gonna actually agree a little bit.
Yeah, the design wise, performance wise, style wise, it's just a sleek, just really good performance basketball shoe. It does everything for you, and so that's the one I would say is shoe wise. And then another brand that I say has developed over time is actually Jeep. I remember my first. Yeah, I remember that was my first car. It was like an '89 Jeep Cherokee, like a red one. And like if you see like all the styles of Jeeps, like Cherokee, Wranglers, and stuff like that, they've evolved so much over the years. Like it doesn't even look nowhere near the same right now. And so, yeah, those two for sure.
It's so funny he brought up the Kobe 5, and I mean, talk more of a little quick sidebar with y'all, but I know at this swoosh, it was this whole thing of where you got to teach the consumer that the low top will help to strengthen the ankle. George, you shaking your head. That wasn't a thought that was out there, though, right? That wasn't translated.
Yeah, no, I didn't. Like I said, I didn't believe in the shoe at all. It's a low top. Who plays a low top basketball shoes at that time? Yeah. Now you go to the gym, everyone's playing.
Steve Nash. That was it.
Right.
Yeah. And I remember hearing something about who was it? I think it was Gilbert Arenas or something like that. They said like when they were growing up, whoever was training them, I think it was his dad, wanted them to have strong ankles, so they put them in running shoes, and they're hooping in running shoes, and it really just like makes your body work the way your body's supposed to work. And that's how I think that's how he was able to just play in whatever when he got toward the end of his career, where he was just playing in like
literally
the most ridiculous dumbness, like the Yeezys that's on Esai's foot right now that he don't want to talk about. Shout out to them, but yeah, man, like that thing, it really did revolutionize. Actually, my favorite is the Kobe 4 commercial, the broke ankles one, where they had this commercials and whatnot make you feel so. That made me feel like it was okay. That and the fact that Kobe, he loves soccer, and then it was like, oh yeah, soccer players and they're doing the same emotions, and then like also tennis. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. Kobe 5.
And I think it just went up from there, because you even look at, like, shout out to Norris over there. His favorite is a Kobe 6, and that was aesthetically just another level, like with the the snake skin and stuff like that. And that shoe performed well as well.
I remember seeing a sample around campus and being like, yo, what is this? Because for us, we're like, it's just Kiram. Just put Kiram on top of this thing. This doesn't have any functionality or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, actuality, you realize that the shoe is amazing.
Right.
It's not just Kiram and everything. It's just, So the Kiram piece is another show for you. It's a product materials piece right there.
But I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
If I can just jump in really fast. This is a perfect example of, you say, product value. Where do you stand? When do you know it? If you live in the space where the product's being created, you take so much of the amazing for granted. You just think, oh, it's just that material. It's just coming from here. But if you're the consumer and you don't know the origins of any of this stuff, and then you're told what it is, you're like, holy smokes, I had no idea it was that, right? Then you begin to realize, am I just being a snob because I'm not really paying attention? Or should I actually be amazed and start asking more questions in this space that no one is in except me and other people creating, and going, am I missing something? Should I be using this? Yeah. Right? Why are you using that? Right? And get more of it to more people. But instead, a lot of times, our snobbery and stupidity tell us, oh, well, he's using it, I'm not going to use it. When really it should be the other way.
So what? I mean, you kind of jumped into the next question. Is what helps you understand what the consumer? How do you know what the consumer wants? How do you know what the consumer desires? I kind of want you to talk a little bit about one specific football cleat.
Oh, yeah.
And then before we get in, and just on your side, George, was like with a product and everything, like, nice cakes and/or kick and roll, or just in general,
So if we're talking about consumers and we're talking about what they want, I mean, everybody's heard the word product insight, consumer insight, right? Everyone's heard of that. But I really think it's the conversation and the dialogue that goes with that word. Because if you don't get the dialogue from real people every day, you don't come across the nugget, right? There's always what we're looking for. Designer, I know I'm looking for it. I remember there's a guy, I want to say, he lives in DC, and his name's Charles. I've known Charles for a long time. He made this statement about Nike basketball in 2001. He said, if basketball is a marriage, Nike is the wedding band. This is what he said.
Wow.
Okay, when he said that, my jaw hit the ground. Like, boom. Oh, what are you saying to me? He goes, I'm married to the sport, so I'm married to this brand, right? Until further notice. So I'm married. So I was blown back, right? You go a little bit further, Ian asked me about, tell me about a specific cleat. So it just so happens, yes, I'm the guy who designed Michael Vick's product from Vic 1 up to Vic 5 and beyond. But what I learned talking with him, he was more interested in what had happened in the footwear universe to the greats. How did MJ get that? How did Air Force One get that way? How did this get that way? If I'm going to be on equal par or near that, I need to know how they got that way. So he was basically trusting me to take his insights. He would say things like, it's got to be rough, but it's got to be sleek. You know what I mean? It's got to be fast looking, but it's got to be like kind of like tough. And so you're thinking, okay, I got these words. What do these words mean exactly? Right? And so again, George was kind enough today. We had been working, he did a photo shoot with some of the product. And he got to see in my sketchbook how I had the opposites.
Oh boy.
Right? To me,
these sketchbooks, y'all, I swear.
It's a whole nother episode on classic styles of design, and like, if y'all could just really understand, like, anyway.
But in the sketchbook, George figured out what I was attempting to do. And as a result, it does come down to looking at the insights and making a decision to commit to an idea, right? The hardest thing in the world is to commit to something, right? Because you say, what if it doesn't work? Can't think that way. Have to think about, what if it does work?
Yeah, and I would say from a consumer standpoint, the best thing is storytelling. Like E. Scott just said, had I known, or had consumers in general known those sketchbooks and seen like all the stuff that went into that, I think the shoe would have been even that much bigger, because you get to understand like what the blood, sweat, and tears that went inside or went into creating that design. And I know, like, there's tons of designers that do like just amazing work, but you don't get to see that, right? You don't get to see, you see the final product, and you're like, oh, that's cool, or that's all right. But you don't know everything that went into that. And so
yeah, I mean, it's funny because I know from a product management side and everything, I know if that beautiful story were to be able to be told, I'd often get a roadblock, at least in North America, by sales saying, man, please, the account doesn't want all that extra stuff in the box. They just want the shoes. Germany, however, when I did boots and stuff, they were like, no, more hang tags, please. Tell us exactly what this technology is and why it makes sense. And it's just, I think it's a difference. And I mean, honestly, you're the American consumer and everything. I mean, you wanted it.
Yeah.
But I think you have some people who are just trying to streamline the process. And unfortunately, in the streamlining of the process, they take out some of the beauty of the art of it.
It's a fine line, because you don't want to bore people with just a bunch of tech, wordage and stuff like that. But just those raw stories that you were telling me earlier, just raw stories about like what took place, instead of, we've seen, today you have like, oh, this so-and-so colorway. It stands for the basketball player's favorite, he likes Rice Krispie treats or something. And so you're kind of like, whatever. But going into that design process of like, hey, when I was doing this, we met here. This is what happened. I came with 10 sketchbooks. He had 30 shoes. This is what he wanted it to be inspired by. And you start to visualize all of that. Because I saw, in his sketches, I saw an Hirachi 2K4 on the table. And I was like, man, I didn't even think that shoe had anything to do with the Vic. But then you look at it and you're like, that shoe has a lot
That's
to do
crazy.
with it.
I'm looking across the way. I'm like,
Yeah, well, no, it's bigger than that though. I mean, he just knows because like when you go to the design briefing and everything, like there might be a box of shoes that you don't catch. But there's all these itty bitty nuances. I mean, like literally, somebody might literally put an Air Force One in the box just because they want to show you that they want to put the star detail from the midsole on the shoe.
And then you have like the Morse code thing. That you're like, that stuff you don't even, the Air Jordan 6 tongue, like that stuff you don't even like.
You just, it becomes an intrinsic value. It becomes an intrinsic value for you. You just find out there's some reason why you like the tongue.
Yeah, and you appreciate it more by knowing those stories. So
Yes.
That means a lot, a great deal to a consumer.
absolutely. Actually, I have a quick question. E, how did you relay this information when you had a sketch ready for Mike Vick?
Right.
Yeah, please tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, what ended up happening is, if anybody has seen the sketchbooks, the sketchbook goes in what I call in thirds. The first third is the conceptual thought of the next thing.
Gems for you designers out there.
Okay, first third.
Gems.
Because when you get to the actual client, if it's the athlete or whoever is in question, you're going to present what you found and say, here's where I'm at today, but I need you now to take me over the next 2/3. So now he's coming along for the journey, right? Or the athlete in question comes along for the journey. We go down to the 2/3, right? Any insights, ideas, concepts he brought out. He talked about Jordan 6. He talked about these different things. Hey, E, have you seen this? I go get the picture. Is that the one? That's the one. Is there a way to bring that out? We can do that. Let me go take a look, right? So,
if I can interject,
Yeah.
again, designers listening, this is actually the way you gain that trust of the client that you're
Right.
working with. You have to show them you
yes.
listened.
I mean, if you're working with any athlete, anyone, I don't care what their age is, if you're working, or company, little company, big company, one client, and it's the only client you have, and nobody knows who they are, but that's your client. Do yourself the honor. Take a little thing of Post-it notes and a Sharpie.
I do love post notes.
A lot of Post-it notes, okay? And whatever they say that you feel is an insight, you write it on that Post-it note, and you stick it in the actual portfolio. And if you have to, put it up on your wall and start saying, they said this means something. And if those things are there, guess what? When you show it to them, they may never say the exact words you want to hear, which is, that's exactly what I wanted. But they'll hold it, touch it, Put it on, look at it, stare at it, turn it on every side and be like, wow. Which means you heard exactly what I said. Yes, I heard you, very clear. So it's something about that last third when you make it to the actual shoe and you say, this is what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And you finish the set, because now there's no more sketches, now it's shoes.
Yep.
It's patterns and it's pieces and it's adjustments and modifications. If you get that, then you say, we're almost home. The real test is, does it match the individual wearing it? Is it an extension of who they are?
Yeah.
If you got it, you got it.
Did you read these questions?
Nope.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
Bro, because the next one is actually just about like how do you tap into the feelings.
There you go.
What
I just told you.
I know.
So maybe we can put that.
There you go, George.
But how do you tap into feelings when you're creating a new program, or just
word.
doing business? Yeah.
Word is
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I think.
Videos, whatnot.
Yeah. You just have to, kind of like E-Scott said, listening. Listening is so underrated. Just listening to whoever the client, whoever you're working with, because once you hear, whatever they're saying and actually put it into, fruition, you can make things that they like or that they understand more. But listening is so underrated.
I would agree.
Would you? And here's something I know. It's kind of tough to completely get it because you want to meet the client's expectations and stuff like that.
Correct.
But at times, is it always a good thing to translate the desire from the athlete or the client into a tangible design or product iteration?
I would say better than 50% yes, but better than 30% no. Meaning sometimes they don't know. So what you have to do is you have to take them somewhere. Vic 3 was a take them somewhere. He didn't know that the strap was going to be the thing I was going to hurl at him. He had no clue that's what I was going to bring him. And I kept saying, I think I got an idea, Mike, I think you'll like it. When I presented the concept of the strap, I shared the picture with George, and George is kind of laughing because he's looking at the faces of people at the table. And they all have a posture like, oh my gosh, you guys aren't going to make that, are you? Like, you're going to make that shoe with that crazy strap? And I kept saying to Mike, look, you need to be locked down. You need to protect yourself. If you want to go faster, you got to be belted in. You can't be just flailing out there. You got to get locked in. Locked, are you in or out? And he had this look like, oh man, I'm in. And he reaches out for my hand like, all right, we're going to dap it up. It's official. And I just remember his agent and the people in the back like, wow, he just signed off on that. What are we going to do? To me, it was, now I'm committed. You know what I mean? It was like, I got him to believe it. Now I have to commit. I cannot get off this.
Well, can you tell a little bit of backstory about the strap though? Because that's kind of important.
Yes.
Yeah.
So again, with Mike Vick, he was always a guy who loved to, the style portion of things. And he loved his straps to be loose, not buckled, just kind of floating out there, right? So Vic 1, he was notorious. He'd have that strap just flailing. And he'd play a couple downs that way, right? Got to Vic 2, I was like, okay, I'm going to stop you because I'm going to make it so that when you lace, the actual Achilles notch pad pulls up. So now you ain't got no strap to mess with. The strap is laced, right? So you're locked in. Now I was like, okay, we get to the third one, and what is he going to do? He sees this strap. I see him once he gets his first samples, pre-gaming, those straps are wide open, dude. It looks like a jump rope. It looks like a jump rope off his foot. I'm like, I text his friend, dude, can you please tell him to put those straps together? That's insane. He can't do that, right? And it's funny. I got text back. He already knows. He's gonna strap it up. Okay, cool. Right, but what I learned was he was bringing the relaxed feel to it. He was like, I'm bringing the urban progressive psychology to something that's very formal and technical on the field. So he made it have that surprise. I'm way cooler than you thought, right? I was like, oh, okay. So I had to learn that his interpretation of the thing I'm working on for him is even different from what I thought it would be for him. It's beyond what I thought. He's gonna wear it different, and I think even his fans did. His fans wore it different.
George, what might you say about that? Do you think it's always a good idea that you always translate people's desires into tangible designs and stuff like that? Like, do you think it's a good idea to translate the tangible desires into actual designs?
Yeah, no, I think, I wouldn't say all the time. I feel like sometimes the the consumer, and in your case, the client, they have these other worldly ideas that just can't be done. Could be done, but just not at that time, like we said with the other shoe. And so I think you always leave the consumer with a little bit to kind of, maybe we could see this on the next design or the next design, or, you know, I wish it would look like this, but you can't, you won't 100% please everyone. And so I think, you know, through that, you create the design, and then you give them a little bit to kind of look forward to, because again, everything can't be done in one shoe.
So I mean, you guys, I swear you guys knew exactly what's going on.
Y'all said y'all didn't read it, but
Yeah,
I didn't read it.
I mean, so what makes a good design? Like, what makes a good versus bad? How do you?
if you had a short checklist of like 5 things, and it could be more or whatever, what makes good design?
Okay. You want to take it?
Yeah, I could take that. What makes good design? My biggest thing is uniqueness. I'm not a fan of something that looks like its predecessor. I'm not a fan of something that looks exactly like it. I always think design is forward thinking. I always think it's inspirational to something that is kind of like, you know, horizontal inspiration. Not something that, we just did this shoe, we're doing the next one. I like for a design to be, I was inspired by this tree outside of this, you know, outside of this building, and here's how I was inspired by it. That to me is the genius of design.
Yep. Horizontal inspiration.
I like that.
Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big thing because I think a lot of times you have some. I'll say you have, and just because working with a few designers who come in and want to make their mark, and they leave the horizontal plane, and they go left. It's striking. Does not always continue to tell the story. Does not continue to
Agreed.
progression and translation, but it allows them the opportunity to, you know, gain a little notoriety.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I think there's a couple of points, and if you use the points, they're very logical, right? One of them is it feasible? Well, can I make it? Can I actually make that thing, right?
I'm stopping right there because I know at the place where y'all used to work and everything.
The one place.
The one place. This is it that we all work together.
Yeah.
There is sometimes some of the development directors and some of the designers who are a little unsavory with the factories because they have been told that you have to push and that if you believe, you can achieve.
Yeah.
So, like, you like that one. I brought that back to that.
Okay. I see.
But, yeah.
If he was here right now, he would say, "That's my book."
That's my book. But, yeah, I mean, but the question is, though, I mean, like, do you really think that you shouldn't push that far?
No, feasible in the sense of push, but have some answers. Don't walk in there and say, it's alien to you, but you should be figuring it out. No, you as the creator, designer, you should have some answers. I found this, this, and this. If you can do this and this, can you do this? Right? Then they go, let us try. Is it feasible? I didn't say it was going to be perfect. Can you make one? Make one to break one, to make another one better than the one you broke. Right? The second thing is it memorable? Right? Because if it doesn't make you remember it, you walk away and it's unfathomable. It's like, I don't see it. There's a miss. Because it's like you did like everybody else. The other thing is, what's your point of view? How many companies have knocked off of late Adidas? How many people have knocked off Nike in their history, right? How many people have knocked off some other brand that was hot at the moment, right? Who's knocking off Hoka right now, right? The reason I bring that up.
Interesting you brought that up.
All right. You
Everybody doesn't get that one. I'm going to call it out. Just look.
If any of you have ridden a merry-go-round or a carousel, you will know what that meant. Okay, now, what I'm getting at is, if something is memorable, right, and you got your own point of view, your point of view is your point of view. Even if people don't like it, there's someone that says, I just don't like it. Good, because you have given me a visceral response. I don't like it. Good. There's somebody on the opposite end of the spectrum that goes, I absolutely love this thing. I can't wait to get my hands on it. So there's the I love it, I can't stand it. If you are in the middle of that 50% of fish nor fowl, you know what I mean? You don't know what the heck it is, forget it. It's tepid water, you're gonna spit it out. Nobody wants it, right? So you gotta have that point of view, right? Then the other thing is, I think, retail. Is it retailable? Do you have a story to tell? Can you put it out there, with the colors and materials or whatever the storytelling is going to be that makes people want to have it? Now, beyond that, there's got to be a why. Why are you doing this shoe again? What's this shoe for? Why are you doing this, right? Are you doing it because somebody else is doing it? That's not a why. That's a what. And you're putting more whats out than whys, right? There was an old saying at where we used to all work, which is, if you don't have a problem to solve, why don't you find a problem to solve, right? Because somebody probably needs that problem to get solved, right? And so as a result, some of the shoes for some people didn't make sense. But guess what? They said, I don't know why, but I believe that, so I'm walking to that, and I'm going to be a part of that. So,
yeah, very real, very, very, very real.
So excuse me, sorry. So this one actually, I really want to hear you on this one, George, because he's been talking about it and whatnot. But does brand loyalty really influence the consumer, like the consumer's beliefs about a brand? Like how important is that? And I mean, and this is from, because you're on you might see some product early, but you're out there and the brands are hitting you guys, blah blah blah, like and even your belief on the brand as you're creating that content, and what you go for and whatnot.
So you're saying brand loyalty from like a consumer standpoint?
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
Because I'm not trying to call Norris out right now, and I'm not gonna call it the brand, but I literally looked at Norris when he came in here, and I'm just like, that's not the brand that he used to wear.
Yeah, it's definitely something to be said about that. I think as
Look,
a
and I don't even know the brother, but I could just feel. I was like, I mean, and not in a bad way. Don't even take it. It's not a bad way, but it's just like I know because I'm kind of in the same place. Like I do that every now and then, but I don't often do it.
Yeah. No, I think as a consumer, I don't think you should show. I don't think brand loyalty is. I think you should just get what you like. I don't care what brand.
I feel like it's so big today we can't control very much.
Man, y'all need to calm down. Y'all calm down out there.
Yeah, I think there's too many these days, consumer-wise, too many followers, in the sense that, if so and so likes it, then I have to get that. Even though I secretly like this shoe over here, but I'm not gonna get it because I don't know what they'll say. And so I think uniqueness. Again, I said that before. I think just being your own self, and if it's a major brand, a brand that's not as known as like some of the like the brand that you guys used to work for.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think you should buy what you like. Simple as that.
They erased their memory after they leave. The group they used to work in, they had too many secrets and stuff in there.
Yeah, a lot of secrets.
Cool. E.Scott, you got a nice little like.
You got brand loyalty nugget.
I'm gonna be really blunt. In 2017, if you're choosing to be brand loyal, you're either probably trying to do one of three things. You're trying to get somebody to hire you, right? Or get sponsored. You're trying to set a trend because you say, I'm the most notable person for this particular product because I wear it all the time, and any picture you see of me, I'm giving them a hashtag, shout out, something, right? The third thing is you're not sure what to do next. So you're just gonna ride that until you think you shouldn't ride it anymore. This is what I would say. The 80s are notorious for the loyalty thing. To me, that's when the 50s kicked it off. The 80s just kind of refined it and put the screws in it. Like, you should be loyal to this brand. Down to your cereal, your toilet paper, and your TV show, right?
Shout out to Procter again.
Yeah, exactly. P&G killed it, right? Just absolutely killed it. But this is what I think is interesting. In 2017 and going forward, why do you have to do that? Nobody's making the companies earn it. As consumers, if you just let them get away with it and say, this is what I have to do, that's on you. But you know what? Really, take it out. Take it apart.
So question here, because I saw your old employer, Nice Kicks, tweet about this the other day and everything. It was interesting. because it was something that was very common and normal when I was growing up. But they were like,
why couldn't I get that place where I used to work?
hey, my bad. It's a place that he used to work.
You said it earlier.
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned the brand name, right? And everything. But no.
He's
So,
famous.
yeah. But so literally, like, they put out a tweet where they asked the question of the consumers that are listening and and their followers and stuff. Please stop wearing Nike shoes with Adidas sweatpants and vice versa.
Oh, I saw that yesterday, the day before.
And people were like, if you're wearing Nike sweatpants with Adidas or something, it's too late or something like that. And I'm just like, well, what's wrong with that?
You wear Gucci and...
Yeah, you wear Gucci with some Ballys or Pradas and Nike with your Gucci's and,
Is it a sports thing? Because it's like competition? Like what?
So, I don't know. So when I was growing up, people... You had some of that, because I played basketball all my life. So you've had some of that where you wearing Nike shoes, you should have a Nike headband and a Nike wristband and all that. But there's a lot of people out there that just don't care. They don't care.
Hallelujah.
Tomorrow I'll probably have the place where I used to work headband and some another brand's socks and another that to me doesn't really matter, honestly. And then really playing basketball, the people that do have like Nike shoes and Nike socks and Nike, those are the people that can't play.
Show me some J's. I'm not even that nice. I'm good. I'm not even that nice, but show the court some J's, and I got you. I'm guarding you.
Do we
not
go
you,
with
though. I'm not
the
guarding you.
overmatched, underskilled psychology?
I hate to say that's the reality.
But I got a feeling that's kind of where we're at, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not trying to, jab at the young folks out there that go.
Jab at the young folks.
Mono branding because they were told it was lit and that was what they do. But just like, know yourself and know what's out there. Like, what makes you happy, what makes you comfortable.
I want to address that. I'm going to put asterisks on it. So if anybody out there hasn't ever saw the book or witnessed the book, if you can, go online, see if you can get it, or see if somebody has a library. Go online, they might have pictures. King of Style, the history of Michael Jackson in fashion. Here's what I didn't know. I didn't know that when the pants that he would wear, the trousers, he had the inseams designed with flexible material. And he had the top waistband, the belt, and the taper on the leg, so that when he put on the socks and he had the stripe on the pant, it actually made him look like he moved faster and more fluid.
Talk about performance details.
Exactly. The reason why people are wearing the Adidas pants with the Nike shoes is because the pants make you look like you have more flexibility. Come on, people.
Jim.
Podcast over. That's crazy.
The insights are golden here. Okay, so this is another really good one because I think we're talking about something that's really right on time with this and everything. I purposely wrote it like this to lead into it and kind of get y'all in trouble a little bit. But,
previous employers.
What is a trend versus a fad?
Ooh. I like it.
It's a dirty question nowadays.
I like it. Dirty question. Okay.
I think our audience is smiling right now. They're like, ooh, they're going to say some brand names.
Right. People are putting their phones on record. This is good. Okay, put your phones away. You heard the producer of this show. It's interesting. If you ask me that, and you have, I think that the fad is something that you can't control, that you can't even get onto. It just happens, right? It happens. Brands can't make a thing for it because it's really a thing done by people, not by brands to make people do things. It can be the cheapest version of something converted to be the thing that makes it look good. So then that company thinks, well, we're gonna make that. No, you're late. The minute you said you were gonna make one, you blew it. A trend to me is an oncoming wave of ideas or style or whatever it is, and then you can see it coming, here it comes. Should we get on now? Should we get on now? How about now? How about now? And people say, nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. And then it gets closer. We really should get on now because it's like right there. And you know what, dude? We're not getting on it. And then, dude, it's gone. We should have got on. We should have got on. But they don't, right? So it's one of those, here it comes. You gonna get on it? Or you gonna get on it right when it's happening? Or did you try to get on after it happened, right? I'll say this. Any company at any time has crossed these barriers. Yeah, Adidas jumped on when they saw the hip hop trend coming. Okay, hence Run DMC, right? Nike got on the basketball train in 1984. They were on it before that, but they really got on the train when Michael Jordan got on the train, right? Okay, Under Armour got on the train right when it got close, because it said Nike's never going to take their compression stuff and expand the psychology and make it fantastic. No, they're never going to do it.
Real insight right here, just because I used to work in the FBA group, a place that I used to work at together. And it's interesting, but when we would go out and talk to kids, they would literally say the Nike Under Armour.
Yes,
Oh,
they
yeah.
would.
It's the same as like Kleenex or Band-Aid.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the kid had been so programmed, like, well, there can't be anything better than Nike.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh yeah, those types of shirts, the compression shirts, are all Under Armour.
Wow.
And so, knowing those kinds of things, it's if the trend is coming, it's seeing it coming, jumping on right when it's in front of you, and trying to ride to the end, or letting it pass you, thinking, you know what, I'm gonna jump on the back end and see if I can get a little bit of it. Either way, trends come and go. They come and go. So you just have to know, if you're a company out there and you're thinking you see something coming, yeah, get on early. But commit to getting on. Don't say, I'm not gonna get on as you're in midair about to jump on the train. That would be a shame, because you'll hurt yourself.
Yeah, I feel like personally, just from looking at it and knowing from both sides, I think we were all consumers prior to the athleisure trend.
Yep.
But Nike went all the way in because, you know, they just had cool, I think they positioned it from a higher end perspective, lab first, and then it became
Right.
more of a normal thing. Adidas was a little bit later to it, but they figured out, hey, let's get footwear to match to it.
Can I share something?
Yeah.
I was on the road about a month ago and ran into a really smart young man who worked at the Nike store in Santa Monica. And I asked him, I said, you know, how's the business? The business is good, you know, hanging in there. I said, seeing a lot of Adidas around these days. Tell me about that. He said, you know what, Nike's got a problem. I said, they do? I said, help me with that. What's the problem? He goes, Adidas figured out the one thing they can never figure out. How to make athletic shoes that, or like lifestyle shoes you could actually perform and run in. And I looked at him, I said, dang, dude, I never really thought of it like that. He goes, go look at the shelf. Our running shoes are running shoes. You would never wear those like to chill in. He goes, and then our sportswear stuff is sportswear stuff. You never go and work out in that. He goes, those guys figured out how to make the two work together. He goes, so now they got people who run in that and chill in that. And it doesn't matter. And I'm like, holy smokes, man, that's a nugget, like a block of gold.
Yeah,
That's massive.
I have heard a lot of people say that they run in Ultra Boosts and stuff like that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So knowing that, you know, I'm cracking up to see Nike now kind of take the Hoka 1-1 approach with a fat midsole, right? And slap carbon in there to say, hey, you know, we're going to call it the Sub 2. You know what I mean? We're going to do it. They got a story to go with it. But what's the reality? You boosted your midsole to make it look fat like Hoka. Because Hoka's doing pretty damn good right now. So it's like, you know, it's okay to embrace that you're enemies.
Yeah. So trend-wise, I would say trends, kind of like you said, they ride longer, and there are multiple angles to a trend. So there could be something said, maybe these white headphones. A trend is you have multiple styles of this white headphone that continues to go for months and months and years. A specific headphone like that, just like a specific style, that's more of a fad to me. If you just have one particular model of something that just goes on for a little bit and then it just dies. Trends, they have different, like I might have a white headphone, I might have a glow-in-the-dark white headphone, I might have, you know, and that's just the trend for that. For an example is even, you know, you look at Apple's products, the white, you know, headphones and stuff like that, that's a trend, but that trend is going everlasting, it seems. But at some point, I want something different than white headphones. But I just think a trend, it rides longer, and there's different ways that you can kind of update the trend. A fad is just something really quick that you may not be able to update or enhance, that just dies just out of nowhere.
Gotcha. I mean, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, E.Scott, earlier and everything, but like, how do you fight that in design when you're delivering a product and everything like that? Like, you know, do you think there's an easy way to, I mean, because if it's a trend and you notice where the industry's going and, you know, everybody's in it, you're in it, you're getting in at the right time, But is there ever a moment where you're just like, you know what, we just got to be completely different, and we just can't even like, we can't help the trend, we can't do what they're doing and everything because we got to stay true to who we are.
Yeah, I definitely think every person or every brand shouldn't ride the trend. I think there's something to be said about being unique and maybe fighting the trend. Because fighting the trend, you could all of a sudden set your own trend from fighting that trend, or just being different because everyone doesn't like to follow the trend. And so you can definitely appeal to a certain amount of customers by going against the trend because everyone doesn't like to be the same.
You want to expand on that same point?
Yeah, I think sometimes you got to stick to what you know.
Okay. Yeah, quick, last, because this literally have 2 more questions.
Okay.
Quick, because George got to get out of here, y'all, but I want to ask George quick fast. What brands do you think, and it doesn't have to just be footwear, but what brands do you think have the minds and hearts of the youth right now?
It's a great question.
Minds and hearts of the youth.
Like which brands are hitting that intrinsic button with the consumer where the kid walks in and is like, oh! I mean, like,
the visceral thing that he was talking about.
Yeah.
So I just mentioned Apple. Not only the youth, but they have pretty much a wide variety of people. But I feel like whenever they come to the table with something new, we just saw it with the iPhone 10 and stuff like that. Whenever they hit the ground, and their storytelling is impeccable, but whenever they hit the ground with something or show you something, immediately the young people are like, that's it, nothing compares. You've seen people are standing in line 3 or 4 or 5 weeks ahead, like they don't have jobs. But I would say Apple.
Fair point.
I would say Apple is definitely one of those that just impacts whatever they put out or whatever they come to the table with. It just everyone's paying attention.
Okay. Cool. All right. Look, I guess we gotta give George a quick round of applause. You gotta go.
To the airport, I got people that are
Kick and roll you?
Yeah, Kick and Roll open gym tomorrow, man.
At Esaie.
At Esaie here in Portland, Oregon, y'all.
11 a.m.
We can probably live stream on Sneaker Week PDX.
We're gonna live stream on something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see somebody's ankles get broke.
Exactly. All right.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George.
No problem at all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, bro.
Right, man. You too, man.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
All right. So as we asked a question about the trends, do you think the brand should follow them?
Well, it's interesting. You had asked about rising, brands, trends rising. One of the brands, and it's not related to anything footwear-wise, is this Dollar Shave Club.
Oh, wow.
Holy
Shout out to Dan
smokes.
Wiseman and the Dallas Shave Club.
Man, come on.
That's
Okay.
Wally's old manager put some money behind it back in the day.
Oh, wow.
What
Whoops, did I
blows
say
my
that?
mind is the idea was so simple and good that Gillette said, listen, let's let him run the table. We're paying him the $1 billion. You know what I mean? And he still gets to run the show. But they said, we can't beat him, so let him be a speedboat and do what he wants to do, right? So that's amazing to me. The one that I don't understand, but I have to respect because the audience in the footwear universe loves it, is Off-White. I don't understand. How
I don't understand
you can
it
write
either.
words on shoes and get love. I'm like, is that hard?
That was a tech pack.
Okay, but it's okay.
Y'all, look, for the design world out there that works with all the other brands, y'all know what that thing was. It was
Right.
literally the tech pack.
Yeah, it's the
It's a
tech.
tech
It was
pack.
literally
So
the
I'll
tech
give
pack.
you, I'm like, well, if we're gonna do that, can I do my version of that and really mess y'all up? Because I have ideas, but we don't need to go there right now. So that's kind of amazing to me, right? The brand that I like, that I think is really unique, believe it or not, is Smart, as far as the car, right? Not everybody wants to drive them, and some people are like, I'll never fit in them. But if you've ever driven one, you can't say you don't like it, because it's fun. It's basically like driving a go-kart, a legal go-kart, right? And I think it's super cool, right? I don't own one, but I think they're super fun to have. Other than that, I'm still amazed today at things like vitamin water. Still blows my mind.
Beautiful design.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, just stuff like that still blows me away. Like, people will come to it, right? And then I'm more blown away by how is it that Coca-Cola can still rumble the way they do. and Pepsi the way they do, right? I mean, there's a younger generation of people who go, that's not my thing, that's not what I do. But yet and still, those guys are making it. So like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I think if there's any one thing that makes a brand click with young people, they learn how to speak their language. They do learn how to speak their language. And the one thing that I will say, I can't confirm this, but mad props to the people who came up with the idea for Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Because that's unbelievable. Yeah, see, I got people in here throwing their hands up right now. Okay? Because you know what? I'm talking grown folks and kids. Something that your kids can have some? Oh, no. You can't.
You got your own
grown
box.
folks cereal. Yeah. Tend to your own other business over there.
If you had to, think about what brands seem to have the hearts and minds of the kids, of the youth today and everything, what brands would that be? Like I said, it doesn't have to just be footwear.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm glad you said that. I think Mattel has been able to do it from a toy perspective for a long time. I think Nickelodeon has been able to do it for a really, really long time.
Shout out to SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob crushes it.
It's amazing to me, actually, because I've seen some, I think we're in a really big DIY generation right now where people kind of make their own stuff. And I've literally seen, shout out to my little cousin for reappropriating the Rugrats logo for his own brand.
Right.
With his friends back in DC, and they're killing it.
Yeah.
But they literally just took the styling of the shape of the Rugrats logo and put their brand name in it, and it's like they sell all day long.
Like Round Two's doing and whatnot.
Yeah.
The other one, whether you believe it or not, Marvel. Marvel.
Shout out to Marvel.
Mad shout outs to them for what they were able to do.
Really wants to shout out to Marvel.
You guys got to think about how many different movies you've seen from Marvel.
Right.
That you just don't realize it were Marvel.
Yep.
It's the only brand that I've seen make you stay in the theater after the credits.
Yeah, honestly,
You ain't getting up. You ain't getting up. You ain't getting up. You got wait, somebody gonna show me something.
Yeah.
I'm waiting. And then Captain America goes, I bet you was waiting for something, wasn't you? No, we don't have anything for you. Have a nice day. Dang it, Cap.
Yeah.
Right? So them, of course, Disney, because they own them, right? But then I also go with the Star Wars brand. It's just the whole concept of you pop this thing off in 1977. It's 2017. You got grandfathers telling their grandson, if you're going to be a Jedi, you need to listen.
So thinking about that whole aspect of the influence and where you have social and digital media and everything nowadays, does it behoove a brand to actually figure out a way to intersect with those properties? Like for a Nike Adidas collab to be in a Marvel Star Wars type of thing or whatever?
I don't think it's offensive. I think it's fine. If you want to do it, just do it good.
Is it authentic or is it being pushed, you think?
I'll say this. It's definitely 60-40 push. Because they don't really need you and you don't really need them. But if you feel that's what you need to do, go ahead and do that. Just do it really good. Nobody needs to be told what it is. Let them interpret it. Let them discover it for what it could be. It was like, do you need to make it red with webs? Not necessarily.
Yeah, I have a view on that too, just because I feel like, in my mind, the perfect execution of that was with Converse, with Will Smith, and the Apocalyptic movie or whatever, where he still has, the only thing that's still around are his Chuck Taylors and everything, and it's like, wow, you just let me know that in 2049, this canvas vulcanized shoe will be the only thing that we still know how to, we still know how to make. And I mean, again, from these two guys being in design and actually development, they know that is a mildly archaic way to make a shoe still in this day and age. But it's just interesting that we're talking hundreds of years later and everything. It might have been 2149 or whatever, but he still had this Chuck Taylor and or the Chuck Taylor brand was still around and everything. So just in my mind, I felt like that was a perfect intersection of saying, here's how you say the brand is legitimate in this space, and
Well, people want the story, right? People want to be privy to information that is what I call deep yesterday, like vital today, and then really important tomorrow. Tell me what's going to happen tomorrow, so I know what to do. People want to know.
You want the last one?
Would you tell what?
What would you tell the youth?
What would you tell the youth about branding today?
Ooh, okay. What would I tell the youth about branding today?
Yeah.
First thing is, if you're going to create your own brand.
And hold on, remember, you're not talking to just one or two, got 3 or 4 listeners out there might be really, really, really trying to set a career in brand and stuff like that, and design.
Okay. I'm going to say this. If you're going to create your own brand, think about what you really want to stand for. If you're going to be a villain, be a good one. Okay? If you're going to be a hero, be a good one. Okay? But be who you say you're going to be. Okay?
Facts.
Number one. Number two, if you're going to work for a company, you aren't that company. You're a representative of that company.
Wait a second. That's a big one. Everybody needs to clap for that one. That's a huge one right there. I think it's a really important piece in this day and age. Got to make sure. Another good friend of ours, I don't know if he's listening right now because he's got 2 kids and he's a little bit busy back east running advertising for the UA. But I think I heard the brother say something not too long ago about it's not the name of the team on the front, but the name on the name on the back of the jersey.
That's right. Exactly. It's about,
and it's not saying that you're not about your team, but
right.
you got to be good as you in order to
right.
be a good team member.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So in that, branding piece, you are your own brand. So you're gonna have to make sure that your name has value, right? And that means showing up, right? If you say you're gonna be there, be there. If you can't be there, tell somebody, right? B, if you're gonna do the work, do the work. Try not to make excuses unless like your dog got hit by a car, your kids are sick or something like that, right? The other thing is, if you should be at a brand and you leave, you aren't less powerful. All you did was leave. That's it. You left.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay? You can become whatever you want to become, and you know what? This is the perfect time in the universe.
Absolutely.
Why? In 2017, smaller niche brands are going to be more taken and accepted by more people because they say, I'm not like the other person, right? I've heard this statement. I want to be different just like everybody else. So you mean you want to be like everybody else, or you want to be different? What they're saying is, whatever the thing is, I want it so I can do something to it to make it mine. Hers is hers, mine is mine, his is his. But mine is mine, right? And I get that. So my thing is, if you're gonna go and create your own brand, just make sure you got a point of view. What's your point of view? You know what I mean? If you say, we approach things being unafraid, okay, then that's your mantra, that's what you stand for. So you know what? When people say, I don't like your product, that's cool, because guess what? It ain't for you. But there's somebody out there that can be, I love your product. Take care of them. Let me give you 2. You bought one? Here, let me give you one. Thank you. Thank you for being a representative for us, right? The other thing is, don't think about where you are. Here's where I'm at today. Think about where you're going, where you want to go, right? And be for real. If it's grandiose, I want to have a stadium full of people talking about, yo, this brand is crazy. I love this brand. If that's what you want it to be, let it be that. If you say, you know what, my goal is to never own brick and mortar. All my stuff stays on the move. All of it. It's on wheels constantly. They can never catch me. If that's your thing, that's your thing. But have your thing. Don't try to be like Nike. It took them 40 plus years to get that. And right now, you know what? It's a big battleship that can't turn. Can't turn. They can't hit the brakes. If they hit the brakes, people go flying out of buildings, through windows. You hit the brakes, and there they go, right? If you light and small, they call it the speedboat theory right now. Be a speedboat. Be small, be nimble, quick, get in, get out, make your hit, make them believe it, and on to the next, and just keep going, on to the next. Eventually, somebody is going to say, hey, look, what you're doing, we can't compete with Gillette, with Dollar Shave Club. Right, so we'll just can we buy you?
We'll bring you on the team.
Yeah, bring you on the team, but pay you $1 billion. Until can you just keep doing what you're doing right now and don't stop? Now, there's a couple of other pieces I'm gonna throw in here in the whole branding thing. Okay, so the first one is this: there are 2 seats you can sit in. You can sit in the driver's seat, okay, which means you're gonna be on your game, helping people do what you got to do. But if you're not gonna do that, you're gonna be on the hot seat. Okay? And that's the seat that's going to burn your behind.
Facts.
Because you know what? You ain't going to be happy about the hot seat. Because you're never going to have the answers, and they're going to say, you know what? You never bring me what I need. Right? So that's 1. 2, you can be better. Meaning learn your craft, learn what you're doing, where you're at, and how it works. If you don't do the better, you know what's going to happen, right? You're going to put your Vader mask on, and you're going to be bitter. So that means you're going to become political. Okay? You're going to start going... I don't like the way you said that, right? And then everything is going to get nasty. Everything is nasty. Everything.
Sounds like a few people out there might have worked for some corporations.
Okay? So
before.
I don't know what brand you're talking about. Or corporation.
So really think about the better bitter, okay? Don't go down the below ones. Don't be hot seat bitter, okay? The third one is what I call the hummingbird mentality, being able to soar and create and fly, stay still and then blur to the next spot, and feel good about it, versus these things called golden handcuffs. Because guess what? People will pay you when you're good at what you do, but they do it for a dual purpose. I don't want him or her going nowhere else and create new universes that crush our planets. So stay here and I'll pay you a lot of money. I'm gonna drive you crazy, make you bitter, actually make you sit on a hot seat, but I'm paying you so good, there's no possible way you'd leave here, right? When you go, all I really wanted to be was a hummingbird, man. I just want to fly. Boom, 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 boom. Do my thing, have my fun, get in there, make great stuff, and be like, that was great. All right, next. So, you get a choice. If you're going to be a brand, okay? You can be down here on the hot seat. You can be bitter, and you can be handcuffed with golden handcuffs, or you can be in the driver's seat. You can be better, or you can actually be the hummingbird and fly the way you want to fly. Based on the audience I'm looking at, I see the top, I don't really see the bottom, so that's a good thing. And if you're out there in listening land, you know what? Just take a self-assessment, and if you think you're on the bottom ones, get some help.
Get up out of the bottom.
Yes.
There it is. Well, folks, I think that is the end of our show for today.
That's it.
We've had the great Mr. George Kiel here earlier. He had to get out a little early. Get a round of applause for George. And the always informative Mr. E.Scott Morris. Y'all only knew the gems this man has touched.
My main man.
We're going to have him back on a separate show just to talk about the models and the athletes he's worked with.
We'll do it.
And comic books.
Yes, and the
We'll come
comic
back.
books. All right.
We'll come back.
Thank y'all much.
All right.
Hope to see you next week.
Peace, peace, peace.
Peace.
Man, it was great. Hey.